The dying planet. The sky was red. Not the beautiful red of a sunset, but the angry red of fire and death. Commander Dira stood on the observation deck of Orbital Station 7, the last defense platform still standing above planet Valara. Below her, cities burned. Forests turned to ash. Rivers boiled away into steam. Her home was dying. "Commander, another bombardment incoming," said Officer Kelks from his console. His voice shook with fear. 20 missiles. Target, capital city. Dira closed her eyes. Her daughter was in capital city, hiding in a shelter 3 kilometers underground. The shelter could survive 1 missile strike, maybe 2. But 20? Can we intercept? She asked, knowing the answer. Our defense systems are at 15% capacity, Kellex replied. We can maybe stop 5 missiles. The rest will get through. Dira watched the missiles fall, watched them pierce through the atmosphere like flaming arrows. 5 exploded harmlessly as her station's weapons destroyed them. The other 15 hit their targets. Capital City disappeared in a cloud of fire and dust. The communication console beeped. It was her daughter's signal, still alive. The shelter had held, this time. How long has it been? Dira asked quietly. 73 hours since the bombardment started, Commander. Kellex said. 3 days of hell. 3 days ago, Valara had been peaceful, a beautiful world of green forests and blue oceans, 4 billion people living in harmony. They had art, music, science, culture. They had dreams. Then the Thexian Empire came. The Thexians had sent a simple message: join our empire or die. The Valaran Council had refused. We will never be slaves, they had declared proudly. The Thexians responded with war. Their fleet arrived without warning. 3,000 warships appeared in Valara's orbit like dark clouds blocking out the sun. The Valaran defense fleet had tried to fight. 50 brave ships against 3,000. The battle lasted 8 minutes. All 50 Valaran ships were destroyed. Then the bombardment began. The Thexians fired on military bases first, then factories, then power plants. Now they were bombing cities, killing civilians, men, women, children. It didn't matter to them. 2 billion Valarans were already dead. 2 billion more would die when the final attack came. Commander, incoming transmission, said Kellex. It's the Thexian flagship. Admiral Zex appeared on the screen. He was a massive creature covered in thick scales with 4 red eyes that gleamed with cruelty. Commander Dira, he said, his voice like rocks grinding together. You have resisted for 3 days. Impressive. But pointless. You have 1 hour to surrender. After that, we will destroy your planet completely. Every city, every town, every living thing. Valara will become a dead rock floating in space, a warning to others who defy us. You're a monster, Dira said through clenched teeth. Admiral Zex laughed. I'm a realist. The strong survive, the weak die. That is the law of the universe. 1 hour, Commander. Use it to say goodbye to your world. The screen went dark. Dira looked at her crew, 5 officers, the only ones left alive on the station. They all looked at her with the same question in their eyes. What do we do? She had no answer. The Valaran government had sent distress signals across the galaxy, begging for help. Other species had responded with messages of sympathy, but no action. Everyone was afraid of the Thexian Empire. No one wanted to be the next target. Valara was alone. Commander, Kelk said softly. Should we send a final message to anyone who might be listening? Why not? Dira thought. We're going to die anyway. She activated the long-range communication system. It used the last of the station's power, but that didn't matter anymore. She spoke into the microphone, her voice carrying out into the vast emptiness of space. This is Commander Dira of planet Valara. If anyone can hear this message, please help us. The Thexian Empire is destroying our world. 2 billion of our people are already dead. 2 billion more will die within the hour. We are a peaceful species. We never hurt anyone. We just wanted to be free. But freedom has cost us everything. If anyone is listening, if anyone cares, please help us. Her voice broke. She couldn't continue. Kellex reached over and switched off the transmission. They won't come, he said sadly. No one will come. Dira looked at the countdown timer on the main screen. 55 minutes until the final attack. 55 minutes until Valara died. She thought about her daughter, about holding her one last time. But that was impossible now. The shuttle bays were destroyed. There was no way down to the surface. No way to reach her. All she could do was watch. The minutes ticked away. 50, 40, 30. Dira closed her eyes and prayed to the old gods, not for salvation. That was impossible. She prayed for a quick death. For her daughter not to suffer. 20 minutes left. Then the alarm systems exploded with noise. Every console on the deck lit up red. Warning lights flashed. Sirens blared. "Commander," Kellex shouted, staring at his scanner in disbelief. "I'm detecting massive energy signatures. Multiple hyperspace windows opening." "The Thexians are bringing more ships?" Dira asked bitterly. "They want to make sure we're really dead?" "No, Commander. These signatures are different. They're coming from the opposite direction." Dira's heart began to pound. She pulled up the scanner data on the main screen. Space itself was tearing open. Bright blue rifts formed in the darkness. And from those rifts, ships began to emerge. 1 ship, 10 ships, 100 ships. They kept coming. "How many?" Dira whispered. Kelx's voice was shaking. "I'm counting 500. No, 1,000. Commander, they're still coming. There are thousands of them." Dira watched in stunned silence as the fleet assembled. 2,000 warships. All the same design, sleek, powerful, and covered in dark blue armor with white markings. They arranged themselves in perfect formation like soldiers standing at attention. On the hull of each ship was a symbol Dira had never seen before. A circle of blue with white stars and a single word underneath. Earth. "Who are they?" Kellex asked. Before Dira could answer, a transmission came through. A female voice, calm but carrying the weight of absolute authority. "This is Admiral Catherine Zhao of the Human Expeditionary Fleet. We received your distress call, Valara. We're here to help." Dira's hands trembled as she activated her microphone. Who are you?" "We're human," the voice replied, "and nobody burns planets while we're watching." Suddenly, another transmission cut through. It was Admiral Zex, and he was laughing. "More fools have come to die," he roared. "You're outnumbered 3-1. Leave now or we'll destroy you along with this pathetic planet." There was a pause. Then Admiral Zhao spoke again. Her voice was ice cold. "Each word sharp as a blade. You have 60 seconds to withdraw your fleet, or we will remove you ourselves." Admiral Zex laughed harder. "You can't be serious. We'll tear you apart." The human fleet began to move. Slowly. Deliberately. Like a predator circling its prey. The formation shifted into attack patterns so precise they looked like a dance. Admiral Zhao's voice cut through the laughter. 59, 58, 57. The countdown had begun. But this time, Dira realized it wasn't counting down to Valara's death. It was counting down to something else entirely, something terrible and beautiful. The galaxy was about to learn what happened when you made humans angry, the first strike. The countdown continued. 45, 44, 43. Admiral Zhao's voice was steady, calm, like she was counting down to lunch, not a battle that would decide the fate of billions. On Orbital Station 7, Commander Dira watched both fleets on her scanner. The Human Armada spread out across space like a dark cloud. 3,000 warships, each one bristling with weapons. They had destroyed civilizations, burned worlds. For 40 years they had been unstoppable, and now, facing them, were 2,000 human ships. Unknown, untested, outnumbered. "They're going to die," Officer Kellex whispered. "They came all this way just to die with us." Dira didn't answer. She couldn't take her eyes off the human fleet. They weren't moving randomly. Every ship held perfect position, perfect spacing, like parts of a single machine. 20, 19, 18. Admiral Zex's voice boomed across all channels. "You asked for this, humans. All ships prepare to fire. Show these fools why the galaxy fears us." The Thexian fleet's weapons powered up. Thousands of gun ports glowing red. Missile tubes opening, energy banks charging. Dira had seen this before. When they destroyed the Valaran fleet, it was overwhelming, unstoppable. 10, 9, 8. The human ships remained still, waiting. Dira noticed something strange. Every human vessel had its nose pointed directly at a Thexian target, like they had already chosen who would die. 3, 2, 1, 0. For one heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the Thexian fleet fired. It was like watching a star explode. Thousands of missiles launched simultaneously. Plasma bolts streaked across space. Railgun rounds traveled at impossible speeds. The combined firepower could destroy a solar system, all of it aimed at the human fleet. "No!" Dira shouted, but the humans didn't run, didn't dodge. They just activated something. Every single human ship suddenly lit up, not with engine fire, with thousands of tiny gun turrets. Dira had never seen so many weapons on single vessels. The turrets tracked, calculated, and fired in perfect synchronization. The space between the two fleets turned into a wall of light. Every Thexian missile exploded before reaching its target. Every plasma bolt was intercepted. Every railgun round was destroyed. The human point defense system was so precise, so overwhelming, that nothing got through. Not one weapon hit the human fleet. The Thexian barrage simply ceased to exist. "Impossible," Admiral Zex roared. "Impossible." Admiral Zhao's response was quiet, almost gentle. "Our turn." The human fleet moved. They didn't all attack at once. Instead, they split into groups of 100 ships each, 20 groups total. Each group targeted a different section of the Thexian fleet. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The first group accelerated toward the Thexian flagship, Admiral Zex's massive command ship, 3 kilometers long and covered in heavy armor. It had survived 100 battles. Its shields could withstand nuclear weapons. The 100 human ships fired their railguns in a synchronized volley. The flagship's shields lit up bright blue. Then they flickered. Then they died. 100 railgun rounds hit the hull simultaneously. The flagship didn't explode. It didn't burn. It simply broke apart, cut into pieces like paper. 3 seconds. That's how long it took to destroy the Thexian flagship. Admiral Zex's final scream cut off mid-breath. "By the gods," Kellex whispered. But the other human groups were already engaging. They moved through the Thexian fleet like sharks through fish, fast, precise, deadly. Dira watched her scanner in disbelief. Thexian ships were disappearing. Not slowly, not one at a time, dozens every second. A Thexian battleship tried to ram a human destroyer. The human ship simply moved aside at the last moment. Too fast, too agile. Then it fired a single shot into the battleship's engine core. The battleship exploded from the inside. A group of Thexian cruisers surrounded a human carrier. They fired everything they had. The human carrier's shields didn't even flicker. Then it released fighters, small craft, no bigger than shuttles, but fast, so impossibly fast. The fighters tore through the cruisers like bullets through fabric. Dira's console showed the numbers. They were changing too fast to track. Thexian fleet 2800, 2500, 2200. The numbers kept dropping. "They're not fighting," Kellex said in horror. "They're hunting," he was right. The human ships weren't just destroying the Thexian fleet. They were systematically eliminating every vessel. No wasted shots. No missed targets. Every human weapon fired hit exactly where it was supposed to. It was perfect. Clinical. Terrifying. Some Thexian ships tried to run. Their engines burned at maximum power as they attempted to escape. But the human ships were faster. They caught every single runner, disabled their engines with precise shots, then moved on to the next target. I'm detecting new hyperspace signatures. Kellex shouted. Behind the Thexian fleet. More rifts opened in space. More human ships emerged. Another 1,000 vessels. They were waiting, Dira realized. It was a trap. The fleeing Thexian ships ran straight into the new human fleet. Now they were surrounded, caught between 3,000 human warships. There was no escape. A transmission came from what remained of the Thexian command structure. A new admiral, promoted only seconds ago when his superior died. We surrender. Please, we surrender. Admiral Zhao's response was cold, empty of emotion. Surrender was an option 11 minutes ago. You chose to burn innocents instead. Now you face the consequence. But we're surrendering now. You have to accept. We don't have to do anything, Zhao said. You wanted war. You got war. The human fleet tightened its formation, like a fist closing around the remaining Thexian ships. All ships, Zhao ordered. Weapons free. End this. What happened next would be remembered for 1,000 years. The human fleet fired as one. Every ship, every weapon, simultaneously. Space itself seemed to tear apart from the energy release. The light was so bright that Dira's screens automatically dimmed to protect her eyes. When the light faded, the Thexian fleet was gone. Not damaged, not crippled. Gone. 3,000 warships had been reduced to debris and fading energy signatures. The entire battle had lasted 12 minutes. Orbital Station 7 was completely silent. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. They just stared at the empty space where an empire's military had existed moments before. Finally, Kellex found his voice. What are humans? Before Dira could answer, a new transmission came through. Admiral Zhao again. Valara, this is the human fleet. The threat has been eliminated. Your planet is safe. We're sending medical ships and supply vessels. Food, medicine, repair equipment. Whatever you need. Dira's hands shook as she activated her microphone. How did you? We can't. Thank you isn't enough. Thanks aren't necessary, Zhao replied. This is what we do. Protecting the innocent from those who would harm them. But why? Dira asked. Why did you help us? We're strangers. You don't know us. You needed help. Admiral Zhao said simply. That's all we need to know. Tears ran down Dira's face. 3 days of horror. 3 days of watching her world burn. 3 days of knowing everyone she loved would die. And now, suddenly, impossibly, they were saved. The Thexian Empire will respond to this, she said. They'll send more fleets. Bigger ones. You've made them your enemy. Admiral Zhao laughed. Actually laughed. The sound was warm, almost friendly. Commander Dira, you misunderstand the situation. What do you mean? The Thexian Empire won't be sending more fleets to Valara. They're going to be too busy dealing with us. A new image appeared on Dira's screen. Her breath caught in her throat. It showed space near the Thexian home system, the heart of their empire. Their capital world where the Emperor ruled, and surrounding it, in perfect orbital formation, was a human fleet. Not 2,000 ships. Not 3,000, 50,000 human warships, completely surrounding the entire Thexian star system. Nothing could get in, nothing could get out. We didn't just come to save you, Commander, Admiral Zhao explained. We came to end this empire forever. They've hurt too many people, destroyed too many worlds. That ends today. Dira stared at the image, at the massive fleet blockading an entire civilization. You're going to destroy them, she whispered. No, Zhao corrected. We're going to stop them. There's a difference. The Thexian people aren't our enemy. Their military leadership is. We'll remove that leadership. Help them build something better, something peaceful. You can do that. We've done it before, Admiral Zhao said. Humans learned long ago that destroying evil isn't enough. You have to replace it with good, or else new evil just grows in its place. A human medical ship approached Orbital Station 7. It was huge, painted white with red crosses. Commander, our doctors are standing by. Where do you need them most? Dira thought of her daughter, still hiding in that shelter under Capital City. Alive but terrified, the capital, she said. Start with the capital. Understood. Medical teams are deploying now. Dira looked out the window at her planet. The fires were still burning, the smoke still rising, but human ships were descending through the atmosphere. Not warships, medical vessels, supply transports, engineering craft. Help had arrived. After 3 days of hell, hope had finally come. Commander Zhao, Dira said quietly, I don't know how we'll ever repay you. Don't repay us, Admiral Zhao replied. Just remember us. When your world rebuilds, when your people grow strong again, remember that someone came when you called, and someday, when someone else calls for help, maybe you'll come too. That's how we change the galaxy, one saved world at a time. The transmission ended. Dira sat in her command chair and allowed herself to cry. Not tears of grief now, tears of relief, of gratitude, of hope. Her daughter would live. Her world would survive. The nightmare was over, and somewhere in the distance, a human fleet was making sure empires like the Thexians could never hurt anyone. Again, the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. The age of empires was ending. The age of guardians had begun. Minute Planet Thexar, capital world of the Thexian Empire. Emperor Vorgath sat on his throne of black stone, watching the news reports with growing rage. His claws dug into the armrests, leaving deep scratches in the metal. The Valara fleet destroyed, the reporter said. All 3,000 ships, gone in 12 minutes. Impossible, Vorgath roared. He was massive even for a Thexian. 3 meters tall, covered in scales like armor plates. 4 red eyes that burned with fury. Who are these humans? Where did they come from? His military advisor, General Krax, stood nearby. He looked terrified. Your Majesty, we don't know. They appeared out of nowhere. No warning. No prior contact. They just arrived, and our fleet completely destroyed, Your Majesty. Admiral Zex is dead. All command ships are gone. We have no military presence in that sector anymore. Vorgath stood from his throne. The floor shook with his weight. Send another fleet. 10,000 ships. I want these humans crushed. I want their worlds burned. I want... Your Majesty, General Krax interrupted, his voice shaking. There's something else. What? There's a fleet outside our system. The words hung in the air like poison. What do you mean, outside our system? Vorgath asked slowly. A human fleet, Your Majesty. It arrived 3 hours ago. They're surrounding us. Vorgath walked to the massive window overlooking space. What he saw made his blood run cold. Ships, thousands of them, tens of thousands, arranged in perfect orbital formations around the entire Thexian star system. Every planet, every moon, every station, all surrounded. How many? He whispered. 50,000 warships, Your Majesty. All human, all fully armed. For the first time in his 40-year reign, Emperor Vorgath felt fear. Suddenly, every screen in the throne room activated. Every monitor, every display. They all showed the same image, a human female in a military uniform. Her face was calm, but her eyes were hard as diamonds. People of the Thexian Empire, she said. I am Admiral Catherine Zhao of the Human Defense Coalition. Your military has committed crimes against 47 different species, billions murdered, planets destroyed, civilizations enslaved. This ends today. Turn it off, Vorgath shouted. Turn it off now. But the technicians couldn't. The broadcast was on every channel, every frequency. The humans had hijacked the entire communication network. We don't want to destroy you, Admiral Zhao continued. We want justice. Your emperor and military leadership will surrender immediately. They will face trial for their crimes. In return, we will spare your civilian population. We will help you build a new government. A peaceful one. You have 1 hour to comply. The screens went dark. Vorgath turned to General Krax. Prepare the defense fleet. All available ships. We attack immediately. Your Majesty, we only have 12,000 ships in this system. They have 50,000. We can't. Did I ask for your opinion? Vorgath roared. Attack them, now. General Krax bowed and left the throne room. But as he walked down the corridor, he made a decision. A decision that would change everything. He contacted the other military commanders on a private channel. This is General Krax. The Emperor has ordered us to attack the human fleet. That's suicide, Admiral Thex responded. They destroyed 3,000 ships in 12 minutes. 12,000 won't last any longer. I know, Krax said quietly. Which is why I'm proposing something different. What? We surrender. Silence on the channel. The Emperor will execute us, someone said. The humans will execute us anyway, another commander argued. For war crimes. Maybe, Krax admitted. But at least we'll be alive for the trial. If we fight, we're dead in minutes. Our families are dead. Our world is dead. Is that what we want? More silence. Then, one by one, the commanders responded. I'm with you. Me too. The Emperor doesn't speak for us anymore. We surrender. In the throne room, Emperor Vorgath waited for reports of the attack, but nothing happened. His communication console remained silent. General Krax, he shouted. Report. Why haven't we attacked? A new voice came through the speakers. Admiral Zhao again. Emperor Vorgath, your military commanders have surrendered. They refuse to die for your pride. You're alone now. Traitors, Vorgath screamed. All of them, traitors! He ran from the throne room to his private hangar. He had an escape ship there. Fast, armed, he would flee to the outer colonies, rebuild his power, come back stronger. The hangar was empty. His guards had abandoned their posts. Everyone was gone. Vorgath climbed into his ship and launched. The vessel burst through the atmosphere, heading for open space. He would escape. He would survive. He always survived. Then a small craft appeared in front of him, a human fighter, tiny compared to his ship, but it moved like lightning. A beam of blue light hit his engines, not destroying them, just disabling them. His ship went dead. No power, no weapons, no escape. A voice came through his communication system. Young, female, almost cheerful. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Human Fighter Corps. Emperor Vorgath, you're under arrest for crimes against sentient life. Please don't resist. My ship has 73 different weapon systems, and I'd really prefer not to use them. Vorgath slammed his fists against the control panel. 40 years of power, 40 years of ruling through fear, all ending like this, captured by a single fighter pilot. You can't do this, he shouted. I am the Emperor. I rule 200 worlds. You were the Emperor, Sarah corrected. Past tense. Now you're just a war criminal, and I'm taking you in. A human transport ship arrived. It attached to Vorgath's vessel and pulled it aboard. He was trapped. 2 weeks later, the trial was held on a neutral station. Representatives from all 47 species the Thexians had hurt were present. Humans provided security. Thousands of soldiers in blue armor, ensuring no violence, no revenge attacks. Just justice. Commander Dira of Valara was there. So were survivors from dozens of other worlds. They all came to see the Emperor face judgment. Vorgath was brought into the courtroom in chains. He looked smaller somehow, less terrifying. Without his throne, without his army, he was just an old creature who had caused too much pain. The evidence was overwhelming. Videos of orbital bombardments, records of slave markets, orders to execute civilians, testimony from survivors. It went on for days. Vorgath tried to defend himself. I was building an empire, he shouted. Making the galaxy strong. The weak must serve the strong. That's the natural order. Admiral Zhao, serving as the prosecutor, responded calmly. You weren't building an empire. You were building a graveyard and calling it glory. She played a video. Cities burning, children crying, families torn apart, worlds dying. This is your legacy, Zhao said. Not strength, not glory. Just pain. Just death. Just evil. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The verdict came quickly, guilty on all counts. The sentence was announced: life imprisonment on a human-guarded station, no death penalty, no execution. "You're letting him live?" someone shouted from the gallery. A survivor, someone who had lost everything. Admiral Zhao turned to face the crowd. "Yes, we're letting him live, because we're not like him. We don't kill unless we absolutely must. He'll spend the rest of his life in a cell, thinking about what he did. That's justice." Vorgath was taken away. He would never see freedom again, never hold power again. He would die alone, forgotten, a cautionary tale about the cost of cruelty. But the work wasn't finished. The Thexian people needed help. Without their military leadership, they were confused, scared, uncertain about their future. The humans kept their promise. Medical ships arrived at every Thexian world, bringing doctors, medicine, food. Engineering teams helped repair infrastructure damaged by years of military spending. Teachers came to help educate a new generation. A generation that would learn peace, not war. It took months, but slowly a new government formed. Democratic, peaceful, representatives from all Thexian colonies. They wrote a new constitution, one that protected individual rights, that outlawed conquest, that promised peace. The 47 species the Thexians had enslaved were freed. Human ships escorted them home, provided resources to rebuild. Some species were angry. They wanted revenge. But the humans stood firm. "Revenge creates more violence," Admiral Zhao explained. "Justice creates peace. Choose wisely." Most chose peace. On Velara, Commander Dira watched the reconstruction. Her planet was healing. The burned cities were being rebuilt. Her daughter was in school again, learning and laughing like the war had never happened. Human construction teams worked alongside Velarans, teaching them new technologies, sharing knowledge, building friendships. Dira received a message one morning. Admiral Zhao wanted to meet her at the memorial. A massive stone wall carved with the names of everyone who died in the war. Billions of names. It would take a person years to read them all. Dira found Zhao standing in front of the wall, her hand touching one of the names. "Did you know them?" Dira asked. "No," Zhao replied. "But we failed them. We should have come sooner. Maybe we could have saved more." "You saved 2 billion people," Dira said. "You ended an empire. You brought justice. How is that failure?" "Because 2 billion died before we arrived," Zhao said quietly. "Every name on this wall is a person we were too late to save." They stood in silence for a moment. "Can I ask you something?" Dira finally said. "Humans have so much power, so much technology. Why don't you rule the galaxy? You could. No one could stop you." Admiral Zhao looked at the memorial, at the endless names. "Because power without purpose is just tyranny. We have purpose." "What purpose?" "Protection, not domination." Zhao turned to face Dira. "We almost destroyed ourselves once. Wars, weapons, hatred. We were on the edge of extinction. Then we realized something. We had a choice. Be remembered as monsters or as heroes. We chose heroes. And now we help others make the same choice," Zhao said. "The Thexians chose to be monsters, so we stopped them. But we didn't become monsters ourselves. We gave them a chance to become something better. Will they take it? Some will, some won't. That's the nature of free will." Zhao smiled. "But at least now they have the choice. That's what matters." A human ship passed overhead, heading toward the reconstruction zones. Its hull was marked with the Earth symbol, a blue circle with white stars. "We're proposing something," Zhao said. "A galactic protection alliance. Any species can join. No rulers, just cooperation. Share technology, resources, protection. Make the galaxy safer together."